Everyone in this room is a victim. Right now, as we're all sitting in our chairs, we're victims. Now you might be thinking, but Kaiyu, I'm not bleeding right now, I'm not being emotionally or physically hurt, but I'm here to tell you that we're victims of something that does not have a physical self, the internet. The filters and the algorithms that make up the internet control and dictate so much of what we see online that we become victims of the web's personal tailoring. The information that we're exposed to online is based so much on what we see in the past that the internet shows us what it thinks we want to see, but not necessarily what we need to. Today, I'll be talking about why the internet has confined us into these limited worlds of information known as filter bubbles, why these filter bubbles are harmful to us as individuals and citizens of democracy, and how to break free of the restrictive consequences that occur when everything we see online is algorithmically customized. And so the idea behind the filter bubble comes from Eli Pariser, who in 2011 gave a TED Talk talking about how this shift of information, because of the internet, the shift of information that comes down to us as citizens has shifted from having human editors to these invisible algorithms and filters. And he begins by talking about how he loves how Facebook is a platform for open discussion, and he himself identifies as politically progressive, but he loves seeing the conservative friends and the viewpoints. And then one day on Facebook, he noticed that his newsfeed was those conservative viewpoints were completely taken out. And instead, he had all liberal viewpoints because Facebook had tracked that he was clicking more on what his liberal friends were posting and having to say, and they took out the other side completely without him knowing. And this got him to thinking, if this filtering occurs on social media, does this apply to search engines? And so he asked his friends all to search the word Egypt. And one of his friends got everything related to maps and traveling and how to vacation in Egypt, while another one got everything related to the political headlines of the protests that were happening that day. And so because of this, Pariser argues that there is no longer a standard impartial search engine. Different people get different things because we're all different, and it all depends on what we do online. And because of this, we all live in a filter bubble. And our filter bubbles dictate what we are exposed to online, and the information that is inside our filter bubble, again, depends on what you do and what you clicked on in the past. But we have no control over what's inside our filter bubble, and even scarier, we don't have control over what gets edited out. So instead, we have information that relates to us and seems attractive because it relates to what we've seen in the past, but it doesn't show us multiple perspectives. And this is something that Cass Susteen supports in his book, Republic.com. And he talks about, and I read the first chapter online, where he talks about how the internet is so great in that it gives us so many diverse freedom in choosing what we want to see, what we want to hear, and what we want to read, as opposed to having human editors decide that for us on news and newspapers. And this freedom that we have online supports the value of independence and democracy that we place as a society and a world. But this freedom also causes us to only choose things that we want to see, as opposed to seeking things that might challenge and irritate us. And psychologically, this is known as confirmation bias. And according to Psychology Today, confirmation bias is our tendency to find and believe information that supports what we think, and disregarding evidence that might contradict or oppose what we already believe. And so when we're only shown a certain side, aka our side, and what we already believe on social media and on search engines, our tendency to fall into confirmation bias deepens. And that is what a Pew Research Center report from 2014 also found. They were specifically looking at Facebook and how posts on there would reflect ideological and political platforms. And they found that among users who went to Facebook for searching out multiple perspectives about political views, half of them, whether they were conservative or liberal, found posts that were almost or always in line of what they were talking about. And in another Pew Research Center report, they found, this is from May 2016, they found that 62% of Americans get their news from social media. And so if a majority of our citizens get our news from social media, then a majority of the opinions and judgments that we have in modern democracy can easily be diluted with subjective searches and posts. And so this all points to the fact that the inevitability of finding people who disagree with us and prevent multiple perspectives, social media and the personalization of search engines ultimately disregard that and completely take that away from modern searching. And at this point, I want to note that I'm not completely bashing on algorithms. Google on their website themselves say that they use about 200 cues and algorithms and signals in order to give us the best search for what we're searching for. And so algorithms are based on a lot of relevance, but because it's based on relevance, they forget to give us important different views. And Sheena Hawkins, in her article in Wired.com, supports that because we don't get those challenging, important, different different opinions when we go online or on social media and use search engines. We create these self-fulfilling prophecies in which our preferences are known by our databases and our browsers, and they give us information that just confirm and shows the same thing in order for us to believe that what we believe is the only right way. And going back to Eli Pariser, after his TED Talk, he wrote a book entitled The Filter Bubble, What the Internet is Hiding from You, in which he then goes on to say that without a good flow of information, we cannot have informed citizens. And so the role of social media and search engines ultimately dictating and personalizing what we see takes away us being able to make modern judgments, rationalized judgments from both sides when we search for information online. So we must free ourselves of the restrictions and one-sidedness that happens when our web experiences are totally personalized from us. And one way to do that is to go out of your comfort zone and to find other perspectives. And so we talked a lot about in this class how critical thinking applies a lot when we're searching through arguments that are given to us in speeches or online. And that applies so much to arguments that we find on social media and on our searches. And one site we can all use is allsites.com that categorizes important headlines of the day and important topics based on their ideology and political platform. So you can basically compare side to side what one source has to say about one topic. You can get the conservative and liberal perspectives. Another thing we can do is to delete your browser cookies. And according to the University of Illinois, browser cookies are data that websites store, and that data is accessible to other websites to show what they should recommend you to see when you're on those other websites. And so by deleting your history and the browser cookies that are stored up, you will be able to get more an objective point of view when you go on to other websites. Another thing we can do is use incognito tabs or anonymous search engines. And so these anonymous search engines like DuckDuckGo.com don't keep user privacy like Google and Firefox and Yahoo does. And so again, you're getting much more objective searches that are not dictated by what you clicked on and what you searched for in the past. We owe it to ourselves and to the function of our democracy to expand the amount of confined information that we have in our filter bubbles. Only then will we be able to really make judgments based on important topics and issues in our world. So all in all, we've talked about what filter bubbles are, how filter bubbles are harmful to us, and how the web has a broad scope of information, and what we can all do in order to technically and critically analyze the information we get through social media posts and search engines. So remember, the internet is showing what it thinks you want to see, but not necessarily what you need to. Break out of burst your filter bubble and go out of your way to find other arguments in order to make rational judgments online and to shape our world. As Charlene Hunter once said, if people are informed, they'll do the right thing. It's when they're not informed that we become hostages to prejudice.